This is Pro Series Off Topic.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pro Series Off Topic episode 10. This episode will be strictly audio based, and that's the beauty of the Off Topic podcast, or the branch of the Pro Series, is that it has no rules. So today will strictly be audio based. So make sure you're listening on all podcast platforms, and while you're at it, just give us a review. I greatly appreciate it. But this week, I posted my first reveal of my kitchen project that I've been working on since end of April. It has been long, and I think anybody who has done a major home renovation project, it is probably the most satisfying and relieving thing to know that you are done with the project. You know, there's still some cleaning that I have to do, but for the most part, it's done. You have your house back. It's functional, which is amazing. But yeah, I've been working on it since April. I did all the work myself except the backsplash, and I tore out a little half wall, which I'm going into more detail each week for the next couple months on little parts of the kitchen. You know, it all has been a collaboration with different companies. So there's a different company for the cabinet doors, the cabinet drawer boxes, the cabinet drawer box glides, the hardware on the cabinets, the trim on the cabinets, the countertop, the faucet, the sink. So it's been fun. I had to record it, pretty much all of it, so I have it pretty much all documented, which will be going out on all my socials within the next couple of months to kind of just talk about my process. You know, I've never done a full kitchen ever, and never by myself. But it was actually a fun process. I like doing home renovation projects, but doing designs for yourself is so much harder than doing it for a client. And I think that's something that all designers fall into. It's just finding a paint color, finding the hardware, everything. You second guess yourself on everything. You see you make the decision, you find something, because you're always in showrooms. You know, I'm in showrooms constantly every week, probably between 20 to 30 showrooms a week. So I'm seeing all of these new trends or these new designs or just new inspiration. So it's so hard to make a decision when you're seeing all of this new stuff constantly in your face. But I am really happy with it. I went with a white cabinet, which I'm not a huge fan of white. I put white in my bathroom 2 years ago, my vanities, and I always said that I would never do it again because it's so hard to keep clean. It's always dirty. I have a white countertop, which I would never do a white countertop ever. That's why I did a gray one here in my kitchen. But these cabinets I will talk more about, but they're so easy to clean for my kitchen. They are it's a very bright white, and so in my kitchen's pretty small, as you've seen, but it really opened it up. I knocked down half a wall, which helped so much. It made the kitchen look so much bigger. I use a darker countertop because I love contrast. That's why I did black hardware. A really cool backsplash that's like a vertical. It's actually a wall panel for a shower, tile for a shower. They're planks. So it's funny because there's really only 8 tiles in my whole kitchen for the backsplash because they're planks. The contractor only, had to cut, the 16 and a half, 17 inches what the backsplash is. So that's pretty cool, which I'll go into detail with. But overall, it's a fun process, but also a tiring process because, I have a full-time job and I've been doing this in the evenings or the weekends, and some weekends I don't have time to do it. So that's why it took 2 months. If I had a solid 4 or 5 days, I could have done it and got it finished fast. But it not being my full-time job, it was impossible to get done. So it's nice to have that finally done. I know my dog she's scared of everything. She's sitting here laying down, sleeping, but she's scared of everything. So it's nice to have a clean house again so she could actually walk to her water bowl without me, like, holding her paw to get there because she's so scared of everything. But yeah, that's my kitchen. And, in the next couple weeks, I will be, like I said, going into more detail of each product that I used, where you could buy it, a little bit about the company, and then you could see a little bit of me installing it, which was a fun time. But let's get into country music this week. Country music Mediabase chart. We have another new number one this week, but we'll start with the top five. Number five being Old Dominion, Memory Lane, which is a song that I did not like in the beginning. I think Old Dominion they've had so many fun songs, fun and kind of funny songs. So when they sing like a very serious song, it kind of throws me for a loop. It's kind of like when an actor is strictly known for a comedic role and then they go into a serious role. It's very hard to keep them serious. But that's what this song was for me for some reason. But in the last like 2 or 3 weeks, this song has been one of my number one songs I've been playing on my phone. So that will be a number one, no brainer. Old Dominion's probably the biggest country band right now, and they have been for quite some time. So they'll definitely get that to number one. Number four is Tyler Hubbard, Dancing in the Country. That was 4 last week. That has already been a number one. Tyler Hubbard is killing it on his solo career, already having 2 number ones, with his solo career really only starting like a year ago. And then number 3, Luke Combs' Fast Car, which is the cover of the Tracy Chapman song from the 80s. There was news last week, I think I talked about it on the podcast, that not only Luke Combs' Fast Car is on the Billboard charts, but Tracy Chapman's version of Fast Car is also back on the charts, which is really cool for her. I wonder if anybody has interviewed about her, because obviously Luke Combs had to ask her to release this Fast Car, and obviously she gets money for it because it's her song. Luke Combs is really just the artist singing it. But I really would like to hear her opinion on the cover of the song, because Fast Car is probably, to me, one of those songs that so many people have covered, like in BBC Studio or wherever they cover songs with artists, but no one's ever released it like this, and especially released it to radio like Luke Combs has. But it's just crazy. And it's so funny seeing TikToks now of young kids saying like they love Luke Combs' song, and they have no idea this is a cover song. It's just so funny how the generations change, and how these newer artists introduce these old songs to newer generations. It's a very cool concept, and yeah, that will be a number one soon. Morgan Wallen is number 2 with Last Night, which was number 1, I think, for 3 or 4 weeks. I feel like we talk about Morgan Wallen almost every week. He just released his new single, Everything I Know. But I keep hearing, it's weird because I always thought country radio only played songs that the record labels of the artist released to country radio. But I've been hearing multiple songs off of Morgan Wallen's new record on country radio. Just songs that aren't even singles. Like I heard Cowgirls the other day, and Cowboy Lullaby the other day. So like, I don't know how that's working. I really don't understand country radio. But yeah, that's a weird concept. But we got a new number one this week, Jordan Davis with Next Thing You Know. This song, it's very, very good. But it just felt like it came out of nowhere. Like it was released and now it's number one. There was like no build up to it. Or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. But I've always been a Jordan Davis fan. I remember seeing him probably 6 or 7 years ago. He was here on the Gateway Clipper. He had a concert. It was like on a weeknight, right before I think he just had maybe Take It From Me was the number one. So he had one number one under his belt, and it was kind of cool now to see that he is some big star. And he's actually in Pittsburgh today with Dirks, with Haley Witters and Dirks at the Pavilion at Star Lake, which I'm sad I can't go to, but I bet you it's amazing. Jordan Davis is one of my favorite artists, so Anybody that's going, enjoy that. But let's get into new music this week. It's, again, probably 2 weeks ago was probably the best week for country music releases just because of the CMA Fest, like we talked about. But there was a decent amount this week. The number one pick was, and highly anticipated for at least me, was Jake Owen's new album, Loose Cannon. Jake Owen has been one of my favorite artists forever. I've only got to see him once back in college at IEP. He came to the Cool Check Center. He was amazing. Great entertainer. Great summery music, which I've been waiting for. Usually, like around when June hits, you get all this country music coming out that's like for warm weather. It's the summer music, and Jake Owen was really the only artist that released some this year. And still, this album is great. On the Boat Again is his new single, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, and then Nothing with the sample of the Andy Griffith Show. But some of the songs that stuck out to me was Somewhere South with Rum, The Ending. Loose Cannon's really good. He talked about that being his number one song on the Bobby Bones Show this week. And Shrank is also a funny one. Jake Owen, just great artist. I feel like he has a lot of sneaky music, meaning like he's not one of those artists that are the A-list that are going on talk shows or always showing themselves in events. But he has so many number ones, which I think says a lot about his character. He's in it for strictly the music, and he loves his fans, his music, and that says a lot about his character and just his overall artistry, which is awesome. Another song that came out this week was called Without You, and that's Diplo and El King, which is interesting. Diplo had that Thomas Weasley album, came out with part 2 a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago at this point, which was amazing. I love that album, but which this is weird that it's another country song for him, but it's not a Thomas Weasley. I thought that Thomas Weasley was his country persona, but I guess not. But this song with El King, Without You, is great. It's a little bit slower, but I really like it. El King's voice is, it's just made for country. I'm so glad she came over to the country world because it's perfect for what country music needs, and she's great. And then Tim McGraw came out with another song this week called Hey Whiskey, and also announced his Standing Room Only album, which will be coming out August 25th. We'll have 13 songs, which Tim McGraw has always been a artist that is just classic, and him and Kenny are like the most consistent artists in country music. They've been going since late 80s, early 90s, and they're still pretty relevant, still getting number ones, still going on tour, selling out amphitheaters or stadiums, wherever they're doing, which is pretty amazing to do for your career. So I'm excited for that one. And then Old Dominion also released their EP called Memory Lane. I haven't got to listen to this again. Old Dominion, I like a lot of their singles, but I've never been like an album person for them, and I don't really listen to their albums in full. It's just their music just doesn't speak to me. I will probably listen to this on my car rides this week, but they had their new album or EP come out, and then a long anticipated new single from Brad Paisley. And why it's long overdue is he signed to Loaded Goat, which is a record label within UMG umbrella. He left Sony, about probably like, I don't know if it was last year or the beginning of this year. So this is his first, I guess, country song off of that. He had that one Ukraine song with the Ukraine president a while back, but I don't think it was released to radio. But this is called So Many Summers. It's okay. Brad Paisley, honestly, to me, hasn't had that fun. He always has those funny, fun songs. And the last one was No I Am Beer, which was, I think it was during COVID. But yeah, it just didn't do anything for me. The next song is from Naomi Cook Johnson. You may know her as the old lead singer at Runaway June. Um, she has a new song called Girls of Summer, and this is actually her debut single. It's pretty good. I've always been a fan of hers. Her voice is very cool. It's very unique. I feel like when it comes to country music, a lot of artists' voices kind of are very similar, and hers is it stands out. You could tell it's her, which is a great trait to have in music to stand out. Which I'm curious to see how this goes. But yeah, that's a big one. And then um, something that came out a couple weeks ago. Um, yeah. Oh no, it came out April 21st. Dang, I don't know why I missed this one, but Morgan Evans. I was listening to the Bobby Cast this week with Morgan Evans. Those who don't know, that is Bobby Bones's podcast. He interviews country artists or people in the industry, and I listened to that because I was a pretty big Morgan Evans fan when he came to America. He's an Australian country singer. Was married to Kelsey Ballerini. I saw him. He opened up for Lee Brice when I was in college at IUP. He was really cool. He's like the Ed Sheeran of country music. He was playing with a guitar and a loop machine, no band behind him, which was insane. But he came out with an EP in April, and it's actually really good. It has the Over For You song about the divorce. If you were alive or on TikTok back in probably August, September-ish area, he sang at a Australian festival. Someone got it on tape of this new song about his divorce called Over For You. It went viral, and I believe it's still going up on the charts. But yeah, he has that on the EP. The EP is called Life Upside Down. But I love all the songs. He has Over For You on there twice. One is the live version of Melbourne, which is the one that went viral. And then On My Own Again, Hey Little Mama, which is a fun summery song, and All Right Here is also another fun summer song, and All Right Here is probably my favorite off of that record. He is an artist that sings that fun, summery music, kind of like what Jake Owen would do, but it's more of a if Keith Urban would do it in that way. And those who have never heard Morgan Evans will probably get that. It's not just that they're Australian, it's just their voices to me are so similar. And I think if they did a song together, you probably wouldn't know who's singing. But Morgan Evans, I like him as an artist, and that interview with Bobby Bones kind of got me back on board in the Morgan Evans train and listened to his music again. But that's all I have this week for country music and for my kitchen design. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, getting ready for the 4th coming up in the next week or so. And I hope you, if you have any topics to send in, please send them in. I do have a lot of questions off of my kitchen, which I am saving for when I talk about. I plan on when I release, each week when I release different timings of my kitchen and my process in them, I will bring up those questions that I've gotten in my DMs this week after announcing or posting about my kitchen. But yeah, so I hope you have a great rest of the week. And we will talk next week. Hope you enjoy episode 10 of the Pro Series Off Topic.